The story of the flood is a tale that has been told and retold for centuries. It is a story that has captured the imaginations of people all over the world and has inspired countless works of art, literature, and film. At its core, the story of the flood is a tale of destruction and redemption, of God's anger and God's mercy. It is a story that has enduring significance, and one that continues to speak to us today. In this documentary, we will explore the story of the flood as it is told in the Bible, and we will consider its meaning and significance in both ancient and modern times. Before we dive into the story itself, it's important to understand the context in which the story was written. The story of the flood appears in the book of Genesis in the Old Testament of the Bible. It is part of the tradition of Hebrew scripture, which was written over a period of many centuries, starting in the 2nd millennium BCE. The Hebrews were a group of people who lived in the ancient Near East, and their religion, Judaism, was one of the first monotheistic faiths. The story of the flood is set in a specific historical and cultural context, and it reflects the values, beliefs, and concerns of the people who wrote and told it. At the same time, the story has universal themes and meanings that have resonated with people of different cultures and time periods. As we explore the story of the flood, we will consider both its specific context and its broader significance. The purpose of this video is to explore the significance and meaning of the story of the flood in the Bible and in contemporary culture. We will consider how the story has been interpreted and reinterpreted over time, and how it has been used to convey moral or religious messages. We will also look at the ways in which the story has been adapted and reinterpreted in contemporary culture, and we will explore the enduring impact and relevance of the story for today. Through this exploration, we hope to gain a deeper understanding of the story of the flood and its place in the Bible and in our world today. Now let's turn to the story of the flood itself, as it is told in the Bible. According to the story, the earth had become corrupt and wicked, and God was deeply troubled by the behavior of humanity. God decided to cleanse the earth of its wickedness by sending a great flood to destroy all living things. However, God chose to spare one righteous man, Noah, and commanded him to build an ark, or large boat, in which he and his family, as well as a selection of animals, could be saved from the flood. Noah followed God's instructions and built the ark, gathering 2 of every kind of animal to bring aboard. When the ark was finished, God sent a great flood that covered the entire earth and destroyed all living things. Noah, his family, and the animals were safe aboard the ark, which floated on the floodwaters for a period of time. Eventually, the waters receded and the ark came to rest on top of a mountain. Noah, his family, and the animals left the ark and repopulated the earth. This is the basic narrative of the story of the flood as it is told in the Bible. It is a powerful and enduring tale, one that has captured the imaginations of people for centuries. As we delve deeper into the story of the flood, we can begin to see the themes and symbols that are present in the text. One of the most prominent symbols in the story is the ark itself, which serves as a kind of sanctuary or refuge from the destructive forces of the flood. The ark is a symbol of hope and of God's faithfulness to those who are obedient to His will. Another important symbol in the story is the rainbow, which appears after the flood as a sign of God's promise to never again send a flood to destroy the earth. The rainbow is a symbol of God's covenant with Noah and with all of humanity, and it is a reminder of the enduring hope and possibility that exists even in the darkest of times. The concept of a clean slate is also present in the story of the flood. The flood serves as a kind of reset button, wiping the earth clean of its corruption and wickedness and giving humanity a chance to start anew. This theme of renewal and redemption is a powerful one, and it speaks to the enduring human desire for a fresh start and a new beginning. As we have seen, the story of the flood is rich in symbolism and meaning. It is not surprising, then, that the story has been interpreted and reinterpreted by people of different religious traditions and cultural contexts over time. For example, some people have viewed the story of the flood as a literal and historical account of a great natural disaster that occurred in the past. Others have seen it as a metaphor or allegory, with the flood representing a cleansing or purifying force that comes to rid the world of evil. Still, others have interpreted the story as a commentary on the power of God and the importance of obedience to His will. As we consider the story of the flood, it is important to remember that there is no one correct interpretation. The story has been understood and revered in many different ways, and it continues to speak to people of all faiths and backgrounds. The story of the flood has had a profound and lasting impact on people of many different cultures and time periods. One way in which this impact has been expressed is through art, literature, and other cultural expressions. The story of the flood has been depicted in art for centuries, with artists using various mediums to convey the drama and emotion of the story. From ancient paintings and sculptures to modern films and video games, the story of the flood has inspired artists of all kinds. The story has also been a rich source of inspiration for writers and poets. The tale of the Ark and the Great Flood has been retold and reimagined in countless works of literature, from the Old Testament to modern novels and poetry. The story of the flood has also had a significant presence in other cultural expressions, such as music and theater. It is a story that continues to capture the imagination and inspire creative expression in many different forms. In addition to its artistic and literary significance, the story of the flood has also often been used to convey moral or religious messages. One common interpretation of the story is that it is a warning about the consequences of disobedience to God's will. The flood is seen as a punishment for the wickedness of humanity, and the story serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of living a righteous and virtuous life. At the same time, the story of the flood can also be seen as a message of hope and redemption. The story speaks to the idea that even in the darkest of times, there is the possibility of renewal and a new beginning. This message of hope is particularly powerful in the story's depiction of the rainbow, which serves as a symbol of God's promise to never again destroy the earth by flood. The story of the flood has often been used to convey moral and religious messages, and it continues to be a source of inspiration and guidance for people of many different faiths. While the story of the flood is primarily a religious and cultural narrative, there is also scientific evidence that suggests that a great flood may have occurred in the past. One piece of evidence for a flood is the existence of flood myths in many different cultures around the world. These myths often have striking similarities, suggesting that they may be based on a shared historical event. There is also geological evidence of a flood. For example, the existence of sedimentary rock layers that cover large areas of land could be the result of a flood. Similarly, the presence of fossilized sea creatures in high elevations could be the result of a flood that temporarily submerged those areas. While these pieces of evidence are intriguing, it is important to note that there is still much that scientists do not know about the flood and its possible causes. Further research and study may help to shed more light on this fascinating and mysterious event. In addition to the scientific evidence for a flood, there have also been a number of theories and hypotheses proposed to explain the flood and its possible causes. One theory is that the flood was the result of a natural disaster, such as a massive tsunami or a meteor impact. Another theory is that the flood was caused by a sudden and dramatic change in the Earth's climate, such as the sudden melting of glaciers or the release of huge amounts of water from underground reservoirs. Still, other theories have suggested that the flood was the result of a combination of factors, including both natural disasters and human activity. For example, it has been suggested that the flood may have been caused by a volcanic eruption that triggered a massive landslide, which in turn caused a giant tsunami. There is no one theory that has been widely accepted as the definitive explanation for the flood. However, the variety of theories that have been proposed shows the ongoing fascination with and mystery surrounding this event. As we have seen, the story of the flood has both scientific and religious dimensions. While the scientific evidence for a flood and the various theories that have been proposed offer one perspective on the event, the religious narrative of the flood as it is told in the Bible offers another. One way in which these two perspectives might complement each other is by providing different but complementary explanations for the flood. For example, the scientific evidence and theories about the flood might help to shed light on the physical causes of the event, while the religious narrative might explore the spiritual or moral dimensions of the flood. At the same time, there may also be conflicts between the scientific and religious interpretations of the flood story. For example, some people might view the scientific evidence as contradicting the biblical account of the flood, while others might see the two perspectives as complementary. We have explored the story of the flood as it is told in the Bible, as well as the scientific evidence and theories that have been proposed to explain the flood. We have also considered the cultural and artistic significance of the story, and the ways in which it has been adapted and reinterpreted in contemporary culture. Throughout this video, we have seen the enduring impact and significance of the story of the flood. It is a story that has captivated people for centuries, and one that continues to speak to people of all faiths and backgrounds. The themes and symbols of the story, such as the ark, the rainbow, and the idea of a clean slate, are enduring and universal, and they continue to resonate with people today. As we consider the meaning and relevance of the story of the flood for today, we might ask ourselves what the story has to teach us about the world we live in and the values that we hold dear. The story of the flood is a powerful and enduring tale, and it is one that will continue to inspire and inform us for generations to come. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.